welcome back to SCC for another episode. On this episode, we're going to be installing the centrifugal clutch. This is going to be for the 49cc 4-stroke 7G belt drive. So instead of the chain that was on, I believe it was a 5G, so 5th generation, this is going to be a belt. They also had the belt on the 4th generation too. I had both the belt drive and the chain drive. Chain drive had an enclosed housing, and I'll go for belt drive any day of the week. Chain drive number one is going to be enclosed. It's going to have a chain stretch. So just like on the regular pedal bike, on the pedal side or the engine side, you're going to have those chains at first 300 to 500 miles stretch out. If you have that in a gear case, it's going to be kind of hard to adjust or take the links out or do anything. You're pretty much going to be not only hearing the normal noise of the chain on the sprockets, then you're going to be getting into the slap of the chain up against the housing, things like that. So a lot louder, a lot more maintenance. You got to keep up just like a regular chain with oil, things like that. So definitely not something that I enjoyed. I had one 5th generation gear housing and hated it. So I'm really glad to see that they went back to the belt drive on the 7th generation. So I got all the parts here. Let's get right into it and show you how to install a centrifugal clutch on the 49cc 4-stroke. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, obviously you're going to have your shaft coming out of the engine here, and you're going to see a groove in here. This is your keyway. So you're going to have a couple parts here. This is going to be your clutch. So how it works is as this spins, the shoes on here, pads, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be in this housing. So as this spins, the faster it spins, they expand and grab on this housing here, and then this is what's going to actually drive it. When it drops below a certain speed, so almost a stop, or when you leave off the throttle, then the shoes go back in because they're spring loaded, and then that's when it freewheels. So when you're at a stoplight, anything like that, you don't have to pull a clutch or anything in, it's automatical. So as you can see in here, is you have another groove here. So basically really simple. You're going to see flat on this side, and you're going to see it's kind of built up on this side. So you're going to put it on this way. You're going to see the shaft tapers up and the keyway ends. So you put it on this way, and then you'll line those grooves up, and you have a little key here. So you'll slide that in and slide that back as far as you can. Now, as you'll see, this isn't going anywhere. So now what you'll do, where it comes in, is this is going to go over. Alright, once you have that on, there's another bolt and washer that go over to hold that on. So you'll tighten that down, that way it's not going to fall off. We're just going to hand tighten it for now. We're not going to pull anything down because there's probably going to be some adjustment that's going to come in here soon. Okay, now you have the piece that's actually going to be the main frame to kind of hold everything together. And you'll see what I'm talking about here soon once we start getting all the pieces in. So what this is going to do, this is going to go right over here. You see you have 4 holes here all the way around. Again, we're just mocking everything up, otherwise I would be using Loctite. So once I get to the final step of the process here, then I'll be using the actual Loctite on it. Okay, so now I get the next piece here. This is going to go in like this. As you can see, this is way off center. That's perfectly normal. So how it works is once you put this on, you'll be able to bolt it to these 4 holes, and this is going to be for tightening your belt once you set it up. You'll keep these bolts loose, that way you can have them closer together. It'll be easier to get the belt on, and then once the belt's on, you can adjust it so it's tighter and it's not going to come off. So what I found out when I was first trying this out is it's not, it's supposed to just slide in, but in this case, first time I ever had to do this, it's just a little off center with sprocket here. And there's a keyway on here and a slot on the sprocket. It doesn't fall out, it's actually built into the shaft here, so it's really easy. So I'm just going to have to take it off this time in order to slide this on. And it should... Okay guys, so basically what happened off camera here is out of the box, this, so it's going to go like this. And you can see where the belt goes around the big wheel here. This is a drive from the motor. Belt goes around here and spins this back one. There's a sprocket on the back here that goes back to the rear sprocket. Ideally, you can see where this piece goes through here. Ideally, this should slide right in and it should be loose. It wasn't that way. It wasn't even close. I could barely even get this in at all. So I just spent about hour and a half with my fancy little foam sanding block here, coming up with new swear words and cussing out whoever did this piece and trying to sand it down. I still didn't get it right. I had to really force it in there. So it should be fun when it comes time to adjust a belt. Hopefully there are, I don't know if you can see it or not, there are grooves in there to where you can put a flathead screwdriver and kind of work it over. So we're going to see how that's going to go. Now another thing that was fun here is I had to take off the rear sprocket to get it through this piece because that was out of line too. So we got this little keyway here. I thought it was built in, but it's actually a separate piece. So put that keyway back in there. And we'll put our collar on here. Actually, should have did that before I put the keyway on. That would have been much smarter. Okay, now we'll put the sleeve on. We'll put that keyway in there. Okay, now we can put our sprocket on if our keyway stays in, which of course it's not. Okay, now our sprocket goes on. Now we can put our washer, our lock washer, and finally the nut on the end. So now that that's on there, now we can go back to where we were before and actually mount this where it's supposed to go here. Okay, so now I get this back together, kind of make sure everything spins freely. It's not binding up on anything, and then at a point like this you should be good to put your belt on. And this is where the adjustment would be nice. So once you get it on, then you can loosen these bolts holding this in, twist it, and then it will tighten the belt up. So basically at this point you're just making sure that the belt is going to be properly lined and be good. So still some adjustment to go, but for now this is just a basic how-to. Then it's just a fine adjustment after this. Once you tighten everything up, then everything will be a lot better. So that's pretty much all there is. It's a pretty simple, basic concept. You just have 4 bolts to put this on, 4 bolts to put this on, and 1 bolt to hold your clutch assembly on. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This is actually going to be a last centrifugal 7 generation clutch I put on. This is Jenna's bike. On my bike, I'm actually going to try a brand new centrifugal clutch that I've never ran before. It's supposed to give a lot more top speed and a lot more torque. So be interesting to see what the comparison is. I wanted to do one with the 7th generation and then one with a newer clutch so I could really run them side by side and see what the performance differences are. Alright everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode. You actually saw that I actually ran into quite a bit of issues with that centrifugal clutch. It was not made correctly. There were quite a few issues that I ran into, and then off camera I tried adjusting it again, like I showed you, where it's off center so you can't adjust it to tighten the belt, and I think I'm going to be in for a lot of fun with that one. I might not have sanded it down enough. So now it's really not spinning freely in order to adjust it. So once I tighten everything up, I'm going to give it one more try to see if I can maneuver and work it around a little bit to tighten the belt. If I can't, then I'm going to be out $50 and have to get another clutch. So shit happens. That's what you run into. I'm kind of glad that I ran into it that way in case you guys run into it. You can see what goes on, what I did to try and remedy it. I should have sanded it a lot more, but I already dumped well over an hour into sanding it, and it still wasn't enough. So it was a really bad piece. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, worst case scenario, spend another $50 to get another clutch, and hopefully the next one is right. So hope you enjoyed this episode, and please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be a lot more videos coming soon. Actually, one more video I'll be doing. I get so many questions asking me, where do I get my parts from? So I'm going to do a video with just where I source all the higher-end quality parts from. And after that, I won't be doing any more videos until after the holidays. So probably the beginning to middle of January. Meantime, I'll be working on my Hope with Change channel, doing some things for the homeless, giving the homeless some Christmas presents and passing things out for them. And then I'm also going to be doing opening up another channel here pretty soon, focusing around life hacks. So stay tuned. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. If you want to message me, please comment. Although I have issues with the comments still on some of them, so preferably email me direct at sinistercustomcycles@gmail.com, or hit me up on the SCC Facebook page at facebook.com/SCCMN. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next time.